Union Executive consists of Prime Minister, President, Vice President, Council of Ministers, Attorney General of India. Article 52 to 78 of the Indian Constitution in Part 5 deals with the Union Executive. Emoluments, allowances and privileges of the President determined by Parliament. He acts as a symbol of unity, integrity and solidarity of nation. He is the first citizen of India. He is the head of state. Election of President. Following are the members who participate in the election of the President. First, elected members of both houses of Parliament. Elected members of Legislative Assembly of States. Elected members of UT of Delhi and Puducherry. Where the assembly is dissolved, the members cease to be qualified to vote in presidential election. All matters of election of president is inquired and decided by Supreme Court. If election of a person as a president is declared void by Supreme Court, act done by him before such declaration will remain valid and in force. Qualification, oath and conditions. Qualification. He must be citizen. He must have completed his 35 years. He must be qualified for election of member of Lok Sabha. He should not hold office of profit. Nomination must be subscribed by at least 50 electors as proposers and 50 electors as seconders. Every candidate has to make security deposit of 15,000 in RBI. Security deposit may be fortified if candidate fails to secure 1/6 of votes polled. Oath and affirmation. The oath and affirmation is given by the Chief Justice of India. In his absence, senior-most judge of the Supreme Court gives the oath and affirmation to the President. President says, first, to faithfully execute office. Second, to preserve, protect and defend the Constitution and law. Third, devote himself to service and well-being of people of India. Conditions. First, he should not be member of either House of Parliament or State Legislature. Second, he should not hold any office of profit. 3. He is entitled to use his official residence, Rashtrapati Bhavan. 4th, he is entitled to emoluments, allowances and privileges determined by Parliament. 5th, his emoluments and allowances cannot be diminished during his term. He is immune from any criminal proceedings. After giving 2 months' notice, civil proceedings can be instituted against him. Term, impeachment and vacancy. Term. He can resign by addressing resignation to Vice President. He can hold office beyond 5 years. He is also eligible for re-election. Impeachment. He can be impeached for violation of Constitution. It can be initiated in either House of Parliament and it must be signed by 1/4 member of House and 14-day notice must be given to him. Impeachment resolution passed by 2/3 of total membership of that House and that happens in the both houses. Impeachment is a quasi-judicial procedure. First, nominated members of either House can participate in impeachment. Second, elected members of Legislative Assemblies of State and UTs of Delhi and Puducherry do not participate. Vacancy. Vacancy can occur in following ways. First, expiry of tenure. Second, resignation. Third, removed by impeachment. Fourth, in case of death. Fifth, otherwise. For example, disqualify or election declared void. If office falls vacant by resignation, removal, death or otherwise, then election to fill vacancy should be held within 6 months. Newly elected president remain for full term of 5 years. Vice President act as a president until new president is elected. In case office of Vice President is vacant, Chief Justice of India act as a president. In case of office of Chief Justice of India is also vacant, then senior most judge of Supreme Court act as a president. Powers and functions of president. First, executive powers. All executive action is taken in his name. Second, he can make rules specifying manner and execution of his name authentication. Third, he can make rules for convenient business of union government and allocation of it among ministers. Fourth, he appoints PM and other ministers. They hold office during his pleasure. Fifth, he appoints Attorney General of India, who holds office during the pleasure of the President. Sixth, he appoints CAG, Governor, Chief Election Commissioner and other election commissioners, etc. Seventh, he can get information of work from Prime Minister. Eighth, he can appoint commission for SCs, STs and OBCs. Ninth, he can appoint interstate council. 10th, he administers union territories. 11th, he can declare any area as a scheduled area and also has power to administer scheduled areas and tribal areas. Second, legislative powers. First, he can summon or prorogue Parliament and dissolve Lok Sabha. Also, he can summon joint sitting which is presided by Speaker of Lok Sabha. Second, he addresses first session after each election and first session of each year. Third, he sends messages to both houses of parliament with respect to pending bills or otherwise. Fourth, he appoints any member of Lok Sabha in case of absence of speaker or deputy speaker. Same with Rajya Sabha. Fifth, he can promulgate ordinance when parliament is not in session. 3. Financial powers. First, money bill can be introduced only with his prior recommendation. Second, he causes to be laid annual financial statement. Third, no demand for grant can be made except on his recommendation. Fourth, he can make advances out of contingency fund of India. Fifth, he constitutes a finance commission after every 5 years. Fourth, judicial powers. He appoints Chief Justice and other judges of Supreme Court and High Court. Second, he can seek advice from Supreme Court on any questions of law or fact. It is non-binding on President. Third, he can grant pardon, reprieve, respite and remission or suspend, remit or commit sentence. Fifth, diplomatic powers. International treaties and agreements are negotiated and concluded on behalf of President. He represents India in international forums and affairs. He sends and receives diplomats. Sixth, military powers. He can declare war or conclude peace, which are subject to approval of Parliament. He is the Supreme Commander of Defence Forces, Army, Navy and Air Force. He appoints Chiefs of Army, Navy and Air Force. Seventh, emergency powers. Constitution empowers President to deal with emergencies. A. National emergency which come under Article 352 of the Indian Constitution. B. President's rule which come under Article 356 and 365. C. Financial emergency which comes under Article 360 of the Indian Constitution. Veto powers of President. When Parliament passes bill and that bill presented before President for his assent, he has 3 alternatives under Article 111. First, give his assent. Second, withhold his assent. Third, return the bill for reconsideration. Veto powers can be classified into 4 types. First, absolute veto, withholding of assent. Second, pocket veto, overridden of higher majority. 3. Suspensive veto, overridden of ordinary majority. Fourth, qualified veto, no action on bill. President of India vested with 3 veto powers. First, absolute veto. When President withholds his assent to the bill passed by the Parliament, that bill ends and does not become act. Usually exercised in 2 cases. First, private member's bill. Second, government's bill when cabinet resigns. In 1954, Dr. Rajendra Prasad withheld PEPSU appropriation bill. In 1991, R. Venkataraman withheld salary allowances and pension of members of parliament amendment bill. Second, pocket veto. President neither ratifies nor rejects nor returns the bill, but simply keeps bill pending for an infinite time period. Pocket veto of Indian President is bigger than the American President. In USA, he has to return the bill for reconsideration within 10 days. In 1986, Jail Singh used pocket veto with respect to Indian Post Office Amendment Bill. Third, suspensive veto. President uses this veto when he returns a bill for reconsideration. Again, the bill passed by the Parliament with or without amendment and presented before President, then it is obligatory for President to give his assent to bill. President has no veto powers in respect of Constitutional Amendment Bill. 24th Amendment of 1971 made obligatory to President to give the assent, presidential veto over state legislature. When bill passed by state legislature and presented to Governor, he has 4 alternatives under Article 200. First, may give his assent to bill. Second, may withhold his assent. Third, may return the bill. Fourth, may reserve the bill for consideration of President. When the bill reserved by Governor for consideration of President, he has 3 alternatives under Article 201 of the Indian Constitution. First, give his assent. Second, withhold his assent. Third, direct Governor to return the bill. Ordinance making power of President under Article 123 of the Indian Constitution. Article 123 empowers President to promulgate ordinances during recess of Parliament. Ordinance has same force and effect as an act of Parliament. He can promulgate ordinance only when both houses of Parliament or either house of the Parliament is not in session. His powers to legislate by ordinance is not parallel powers to legislation. President's satisfaction can be questioned in court on grounds of malafide. His ordinance-making powers is coextensive as regards all matters except duration with the law-making powers of President. Ordinance must be laid before both houses when it reassembles, and if approved by both, then becomes act. If no action is taken, then ceases to operate on expiry of 6 weeks from reassembly of Parliament. This means maximum life of ordinance is 6 months and 6 weeks. Ordinance may modify or repeal any act of Parliament or another ordinance. It can alter, amend tax law. However, it cannot be issued to amend Constitution. Pardoning power of President under Article 72 of the Indian Constitution. First, pardon. It removes both sentence and conviction completely. Second, commutation. Changing the form of punishment into lighter form. Death sentence commute into imprisonment. Third, remission. Reducing period of sentence without changing its character. Fourth, respite. Avoiding lesser sentence due to some special fact. Fifth, reprieve. Stay of execution of sentence temporary. Convict get time to seek pardon or commutation. Vice President of India. He occupies second highest office in India. This office is modeled on lines of American Vice President. Election of Vice President. First, elected and nominated members of Parliament participate in election of Vice President. Second, it does not include members of state legislative assemblies. Qualification to be Vice President. First, a person must be citizen of India. Second, he must have completed 35 years of age. Third, he should be qualified for election as a member of Rajya Sabha. And fourth, he must not hold office of profit. Nomination must be subscribed by 20 electors as proposers and 20 electors as seconders. Oath or affirmation of Vice President. He swears to bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution. Second, faithfully discharge his duties. His oath is administered by President or person appointed by him. Condition: Constitution lays 2 conditions for Vice President. That is, first, he should not be member of either House of Parliament or state legislature. Second, he should not hold office of profit. Term: he holds office for 5 years. He resigns by addressing resignation to President. A formal impeachment is not required for his removal. 14-day advance notice to be given to the Vice President. He can be removed by a resolution of Rajya Sabha passed by absolute majority and agreed by Lok Sabha. There is no ground mentioned in the Constitution for his removal. He can hold office beyond 5 years until new Vice President is appointed. Vacancy can occur in following 5 ways. First, on expiry of tenure of 5 years. Second, by resignation. Third, by removal. Fourth, due to death. Fifth, otherwise. For example, due to disqualification or void election of the Vice President. If office falls vacant by resignation, removal, death or otherwise, and new Vice President is elected, he will remain in office for full term of 5 years. Election disputes. All doubts and disputes inquired and decided by Supreme Court, whose decision is final. Emoluments of the Vice President. The Constitution does not fix emoluments for him. He receives salary as ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Powers and functions of Vice President. First, he acts as ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. Second, he acts as a president when president's office is vacant, but only for 6 months. While acting as a president, he does not perform duties of chairman of Rajya Sabha. During this period, those duties are performed by deputy chairman of Rajya Sabha.